Thank you. YouTube's good?
YouTube is ours.
Good evening. Welcome to June 23rd's Township Committee Meeting located here at the Municipal Building. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mrs. Patrick.
Here.
Mr. McFadden.
Here.
Mr. Olet.
Here.
Ms. Seuss.
Here, also present, Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mr. Heinhold, our Solicitor, Mrs. Lohr, Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Russell, Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Warren, our Police Chief. Did I get everybody? Yeah. Please rise for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we also have our new administrator in the audience, Mrs. Debbie Seminaris. So welcome, Debbie. And our planner, Scott Taylor. Welcome. We'll see you shortly. Can I have the sunshine and live stream statements, please?
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in December 30th, 2024 editions, and written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. This meeting of the Delanco Township Committee may be transmitted via live stream on YouTube video. The streaming of the meeting is not intended to be relied upon as formal public access under the Open Public Meetings Act. And if the technology is disrupted for any reason, the township meeting will proceed in person as an official meeting in accordance with the official notice.
Thank you. Please take a moment to silence all cell phones or put them on vibrate. And I will read the rules governing public comment period. In accord with and subject to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12 at SEEK, during general public comment periods, the Delanco Township Committee is permitted to institute reasonable rules and regulations to allow for a smooth process and ensure a reasonable opportunity to be heard. Calling out from the audience outside of one's time at the microphone is disruptive to the person speaking at the microphone or the committee member speaking from the dais and will not be permitted. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to speak and should limit their comments to the matter at hand. The speaker will be directed to conclude the remarks once the time has expired. No time may be yielded to another speaker. From another speaker. Groups are encouraged to select a spokesperson to speak on their behalf. Speakers will address the committee from the podium and are asked to begin the remarks with their name and address. Committee members are not obligated to answer impromptu questions or address remarks from members of the public during the public comment period. Speakers should expect the committee to refrain from engaging in dialogue, except to the extent necessary to clarify the speaker's comments. The allotted time for speaking from the podium is a method to address the Township Committee during the public comment period. The committee will not entertain questions or comments called out from the audience during the public comment or at any time. Speakers and members of the public should at all times maintain proper decorum and shall make their comments in a civil manner. Personal attacks, obscenity, derogatory, or slanderous remarks will not be tolerated. Ordinance 2025-8, an ordinance to amend an ordinance titled an ordinance of the Township of Delanco, providing for and determining the rate of compensation of officers and employees. This is the second reading by title only in public hearing. Hearing is open to the public right now for only on ordinance 2025-8. If you'd like to make a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address. Seeing none, I will close this hearing to the public. Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-8, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kate, second by Fern. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mrs. Patrick.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes. Ordinance 2025-9, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 295 Vehicles and Traffic of the Township of Delanco Municipal Code for the prohibition of engine braking. This is the second reading by title only and public hearing. The hearing is now open to the public for ordinance 2025-9. Seeing none, we'll close this hearing to the public. Can I get a motion to adopt 2025-9?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Kate. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mrs. Patrick.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes, thank you. Both ordinances pass. Right now, we'll move on to our park and playground design presentation, a resolution for the Burlington County Park Development Program, the grant for $250,000. So Mr. Taylor from Taylor Design Group, come on up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good to see you all.
Do we need a microphone? for recording purposes.
Is that better?
Good enough.
Okay. So thank you. Good to see you all. So we are here, and I should be less than an hour.
He's kidding.
I love the sound of your voice, but not for an hour.
Not more than I do. So we're here, as the mayor indicated. Burlington County has revived their park improvement grant program. So some internal discussions. One of the things that had been determined had been lacking was a playground space that was accessible very near the center of the town. There had been previously some discussions about putting one out at FOD. We had submitted grant applications for that. Part of the feedback was it's a little disconnected from the major parts of the community. So the idea here was to take that area that basically sits south of the field and convert that into a handicap accessible, fully inclusionary playground area. I'm sorry for some of the members of the public that I'll block here. Here are the existing basketball courts. The ball field is up in this location. We have Cooper down here. This is that large open grass area. So the concept is, and also by way of reference, these are the new bleachers that were just constructed under a, I believe, a local recreation improvement grant. Richard's nodding, thank you. And also an accessible pathway that leads back to the parking. So what we're looking to do is come in with sidewalks that come off of that to this baseball diamond shaped playground surfacing that's proposed to have rubber surfacing in the shape of an actual diamond that also has a play structure and some other support structures on that. So it is a relatively simple and straightforward. We already have existing fencing sort of hemming the areas in, so there is no fencing proposed here. We will have some stormwater management that will need to pick up some water, and we're looking to do maybe some gentle berming to create a little bit of separation between the basketball courts and the play area to the extent we can, understanding that space is somewhat limited.
Scott, can I stop you for 1 second? Can you move this over to the corner because we're blocking the camera? The live stream's being blocked by your, thank you. Yeah, just like right
Or
there.
even maybe, Scott, if you want to go to this side.
Yeah, or
We
that
all have
side, one or
copies
the
of the
other.
print in front of
Yeah.
us. Maybe you could turn it toward the audience so
Yep.
everyone could see it.
That works too. There you go. There you go. That's great. Thank you.
So baseball diamond-shaped playground, play structure in the middle. We are showing bike rack, some benches, again, accessible pathways with wheelchair companion areas to the sides of those. We're also showing, and it's not included as part of the grant, perhaps a small future shade pavilion here. We thought that that could actually work very well to supplement both the playground and also the ball field, especially on days if there are tournaments or anything else. We know that tents get set up here, but by placing it sort of in this location, it could really serve both of those functions. More of a placeholder that if other grants become available or at some point down the road, the municipality thinks that that would be makes sense, that could always be implemented. So we've put together the grant application, the narrative, all of the required forms necessary for submission to the county by this Friday. So what we're looking for is a resolution or ordinance. I guess it's a resolution. All right, thanks, Doug. And that's why he's the attorney. Authorizing the submission, the support of the project and the submission of the grant application.
Yeah, I want to let you know, Mayor, that Scott did present this to Recreation on June 11th, and we approved the plan.
Okay. And we did get a preliminary cost estimate from you, and, you know, barring what we would get the grant for, there may be some local contribution needed, but we had talked about maybe scaling down the playground equipment to not be such a large structure if we do get the grant, so that's something kind of, we'll cross that bridge. We do have some capital funds that we canceled out and received money back on our end, so we do have some additional capital funds available for, right, Richard?
We hope so, yes.
Okay. Just wanted you to confirm I'm not,
But we definitely, again, even if we do need to scale this back, or
Yep.
even if the grant award came in slightly less than the maximum, there are alternatives that we can do to sort of phase this in and make this happen.
And we weren't talking, I think we were talking like 60, 70,000 as a local match. It wasn't a lot.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, I think it's a great project. I love the homage with the baseball diamond to the Babe Ruth Park, and obviously with all the history there. So I think it's great. That was really creative. Rubber surfacing is the way to go now. Unfortunately, it's super expensive, but that's what you need for the fall risk. And obviously, if we haven't put two and two together yet, this is where the skate park is right now. So the skate park would actually be removed for this if we do get the grant for it. And that, in my mind, is the only way we would move forward with this, is if we got the grant at this point. So anybody have any questions, comments, feedback?
It's a beautiful design, Scott. I echo the mayor's comments about the design for a baseball-shaped or baseball field-shaped park at the baseball field. I think that works great, and it's a great idea to have something there because this really is the center of town. The kids have a playground up at West Avenue, and that's really it. So
Something everybody can walk to.
Yeah.
I like that it's the center of town, so it can be closely monitored by police going up and down the street, local residents, as opposed to where West Avenue is. We do get some, some vandalism down there because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So, great. No, I think you did a good job. Kate or Fern, any other feedback?
No, it's great. We were very pleased with it. Rick was.
I actually have a question, Mayor.
Yes, Janice.
There was an email, I don't know if Scott, you or Michelle sent it, about having to have a public hearing.
That is an eventuality. So if the grant is awarded and we're intending to proceed with the project,
Okay.
we will have to have on a future agenda a public hearing. We'll coordinate on that issue with Taylor Design and with you, Janice. It's just a state requirement because of
Green Acres.
Green Acres, correct?
But that would happen after we know if we're getting the grant.
Right, there's
Okay.
no point
It's
in,
not part of the application
No.
process.
It's not.
right, there's no
Okay.
point in making a decision or a public hearing on that until we know we're actually proceeding.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
So this would be Resolution 2025-107, correct?
97.
Oh, 97, I'm sorry,
97.
97. Oh, so we already have a resolution. Yep, okay, good. All right, so thank you, Scott, and we'll move on to Resolution 2025-97, committing to support the design and construction of accessible playground at Babe Ruth Field at the center of Delanco. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Phil, second by Kate, to adopt Resolution 2025-97. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett,
yes.
Mrs. Patrick.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden,
Yes.
Mr. Olaf,
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes, thank you.
Perhaps we can get that plan put on the website so the people watching at home could see that as well, and anybody else.
Yeah, if you have like a PDF of that. Yes. And you'll get that over to the county, and we'll be good to go. And we'll hear, I believe it's mid-August.
And I'll send you a PDF of that you can upload on your website.
Great.
Scott,
Thanks,
your,
Scott.
your office sent us the packet for the application, so Janice will have to work on getting that up to them.
Okay.
Nice
Thank you,
design.
Mr.
Thanks, Scott.
Taylor.
Thank you all. Good
Have a
night.
great night. Stay cool. Okay, meeting will be open to the public for comments and questions. This is on agenda items only. This is session 1. If you'd like to come up to the podium and state your name and address, this is the time to talk about agenda items only.
By agenda items only, you mean everything that's on the agenda, including the
Anything that's on the
discussion from
agenda,
later?
yes.
Great. David Suter, 725 Delaware Avenue.
Could you speak up a little bit? We can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Well, I'll turn up my hearing aid, maybe that'll help you. Too. Terry and I moved here in '97, and I was fortunate to meet some individuals who grew up here as teenagers in the 60s and 70s. And so they gave me they were creek and river rats, and they sort of gave me the lowdown on what it was to grow up at that time. Delaware was a little bit of, Avenue was a little bit of Wild West. You know, it was like smoke and drink and fool around and find the place where you have the best bevel so you can get beyond it so the police can't see you when they come by with their light because you're on the other side of the hill next to the river. This started and continued for a while, and since there's no stop signs on Delaware Avenue, a little bit of drag racing started to take place. And the poobahs of town decided that maybe it needed to be changed. So probably 40, 45 years ago is when parking got restricted on Delaware Avenue for a specific purpose. The idea was to find a way to soften the amount of effects of cars on the street. The idea was to quiet and calm it, and it seems to have worked really well. We have tons of people in town that love to use this walk that come from all over the town and access it there. They ride their bikes, they walk, they push strollers. Some of them actually get out and do other stuff with their dogs. I have people I see from West Avenue who come down to the river to walk their dog because they enjoy it so much. The idea of putting parking there, even on a temporary basis, I think is fraught with a few problems. I just give you a really quick story that happened. A marvelous neighbor of ours decided to have a party at one point, and you can close the street and the police department and the public works helps. And then at the last minute, my neighbor decided, wow, all my out-of-town friends could drive down the street and park right here. And so he moved to the barracks, and you had all these nose-to-butt, nose-to-butt, nose-to-butt cars, 50 of them lining each side of Delaware Avenue. And then it was a great party, I have to say. People had great food, nice music, and a few adult beverages. But when they came out, they had no way to get the heck out of the street because they're all stuck, nose-to-butt, nose-to-butt, nose-to-butt. And Delaware Avenue is not a very wide street. So the first guy that got out basically got his car backed up, put it in reverse, looked around, and went out 35 miles an hour. It's like, wow. Nobody lost a side view mirror. It was amazing. The next few people that got stuck, of course, had to back up, go over the curb, roll on people's lawns, and then drive out. The idea that somehow we can cram a whole lot of cars on the street without something going wrong, especially for a two-way street, is a problem. The concerts that you hold at the marina right now, you have off-street parking. You have parking along some of the grass areas of the marina, and a local businessman gets to take part in this as well. And I'm not saying you shouldn't hold the concert there, although it would have been nice to know it was going to happen. But the only real impact that you have in that area is Orchard gets crammed, and you have an easy way in and an easy way out of that particular location. You have parking on both sides of Rancocas, but it's a one-way street. You have parking on both sides of Orchard, and that's the only street that you can go both directions right there. And then when you get around to Washington, it's a one-way street out. So there's never a point at which somebody has to do a U-turn or turn around, or traffic has to cross one another. Also, all of the streets in that area are 30 feet wide, curb face to curb face, which I think is the standard you need for municipal planning in a residential area, especially if you're going to have traffic that goes two directions. And if you want to put in parallel parking, you would need 40 feet. If you wanted to put in pedestrian access, you'd have to add 5 feet to that. In front of my house on Delaware Avenue, your right-of-way is 40 feet, but that includes the sidewalk, a grass berm, the curbs, and the street. What you actually have on my property from curb face to curb face is 25 feet, 6 inches. Now, I know 5 feet doesn't sound like a lot to you, but if you're talking about getting an emergency vehicle down and there's parking on one side or another with traffic going two directions, you're going to have a large problem. If you limit it so that there's traffic only in one direction and parking, you still have to deal with how are you going to get a major vehicle down there? You can't turn around in the middle of the street on Delaware Avenue, even if there is no parking. The guy that finally made his way out on our street had to do a Donald Trump signature kind of thing. You know, it wasn't quite a K-turn, it was an all-over-the-place turn just to get out. I kind of see the parking on this street as an active danger to the people who come there. When people have parties there and ask to block the street, it's keeping the cars out so that people won't get hit. You guys are going to introduce cars onto an area where people will walk up to this, and you have people who will be walking in who have no business being at the concert. They just want to walk their dogs or push their stroller. They're going to be a part of that mix, along with people going two-way traffic on Delaware and parking on one side or another. And if you're going to stop the parking from stop the traffic at some point, you're going to have people having to make U-turns or turns on side streets. My question for you is, you do a carriage ride every year. You've been doing it for 22 years now, 23? People park in the area, and it's not on Delaware. because you have to close it for the carriage rides, obviously. Is there a specific reason why we have to open this street? My guess is you're going to be endangering some people who are there just to enjoy the asset that they've always had to enjoy. I'd like to see you guys to really rethink this when you discuss this afternoon and find some other alternative. I would urge you to plan better. Usually when you, I know that you really want to have a kickoff to this park because it's been a long time coming. And thanks to the help of one of your former councilmen who worked for like 12 years to wrangle the seawall out of the damn state, whom you guys owe a debt
18
to.
years, to be exact.
There you go. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments. We'll discuss it more tonight when we have the
Is my
discussion
time up?
items. Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? Public comment on agenda items?
My name's Alan Crome, live at 549 Delaware. My wife and I moved here about 5.5 years ago, and we were lucky enough to find a place in the Zurbrugg development, and we've loved it. One of the things we've always loved about living where we live is the public access to the river and the sidewalks by the river. And I would echo a lot of the things that the fellow before me just said. I am a fortunately still surviving example of the dangers. 5 years ago, this July 7th, which, to refresh your memory, was the part of COVID summer where people had just decided, well, maybe we can get outside and walk and enjoy things. And so in the afterglow, just after the sunset, my wife and I took off on our bicycles and rode down maybe 2 miles an hour along. And there were a lot of people out, but it was fairly calm. A little bit more traffic than usual, but not a lot. And the first thing that gave me some idea something was wrong was I heard somebody behind me revving their engine. And clearly they wanted to get around some of the traffic that was moving a little too slowly for them. And the next thing I knew, I was on the ground. Fortunately, for all the people who were there, got the license plate. The police were there quickly. The EMTs got there quickly. Even so, I was in the hospital for 8 days. I had 3 operations. Doctor said there was a good chance I would never walk again. I broke my arm, my forearm in 2 places. I mean, completely snapped it. I got very, very lucky. But the kind of traffic that was there that night, because hey, we can get out now finally. Foot traffic, bicycle traffic, automobile traffic, was just to me a hint of what you could have if you had people trying to park, get in and out, and so forth during a major event. I'm torn on this because I understand the intent is to be able to get more people in so that access to the river and its attractions is available to all. And I think that's a value that my wife and I both share. But I would just say I still have PTSD when I see somebody riding a bike too close to where cars are. And so or walking. So I would just urge you to consider the possible dangers of having that many cars trying to pull in and out of a space of a relatively narrow street. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Good evening. Thank you very much for letting me give my opinion. I'm Ed Deviney. I live at Union Avenue in Delaware, 100 Union Avenue. The previous speakers said a lot of what I wanted to cover, so I won't repeat what they said, except to say that I think they made some important and useful points. I live cat-a-corner from the new park. And I think it's, I look over there and I think about how far we've come from the time some years ago when we took a chance to develop that area. And I think in hindsight, it turned out very well, and I think we can be very proud of what we've done. All I want to say is that it's a beautiful, beautiful little park. It's not very big, and it's in an area where it's a little bit crowded. I would just urge people to think about maybe having Delaware Avenue stay about the way it is, so people can walk on it as they are accustomed to do for the past decades, and use it appropriately as a place that it is, small and a gem. So thank you.
Thank you. And anyone else?
Terry Mater, also Delaware Avenue. I'm not going to repeat some of the things. One of my concerns is emergency vehicle access. It's not a wide enough street, I don't think, to be able to get an ambulance or a fire truck down if the need should arise. And the other thing I was thinking is if you do start to allow parking, then you're going to have a little more enforcement in your area, because people are going to come down on a Saturday or a Friday and say, oh, we can park there. Nobody's enforcing with the no parking sign, so they come back on Monday, and there they are parking again. And I've often had to ask people, I mean, I have people pull up and they're like unloading picnic baskets and barbecues and blankets, and I'm like, yeah, that's my yard.
Just so we're clear, we're talking about closing one block for 3 events. We're not talking about allowing parking all the time.
But yes, I understand. But
Okay,
people,
I just want to make sure we were clear on that.
That, I do understand
Okay.
that. Yes, I do get that. But when people say, oh, I mean, especially if they don't come to Delanco very often, it's like, yeah, you can park here. I parked here last week. You know, and
Sure.
it's a logical thing. I understand. It's also, I understand when people start unloading their car, yes, my yard looks like a park. It isn't, you know, but it looks like it. I don't blame them. I just ask them, you know, not to unload there, and they get, sometimes, most times they're fine, but sometimes they get upset, and that's
I've
the other
seen it,
thing
yeah.
that happens. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come on.
Laura Crone at 549 Delaware. I agree with everything that my husband said and our neighbors as well. I had a suggestion, or, well, it's not even a suggestion, it's just a thought about something that we might do that would have a little bit of resolution. Access is really a big issue, and what we have now is a tremendous amount of access to this beautiful riverfront for everybody. I think in the case of a concert, possibly there could be some kind of temporary handicapped parking spaces that would offer access to people who really needed it, for whom it would be hard to walk a block or 2 blocks or 3 blocks. And we would not have any problem with that at all. We would welcome that. It would be wonderful. And that might resolve some of, I don't know if you've done studies about how much parking there is on the streets that are approaching the river. Just anecdotally, it looks to me like there's a lot of parking there a lot of the time. But I do think that the issue of access for people who are handicapped is a very real issue that should be considered.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll close this session 1 to the public. Thank you all for your comments. We will circle back to this under discussion items after we get through the rest of our agenda. We'll move on now to comments and reports from our professionals. Mr. Heinhold, anything to report?
I'll just briefly point out again, we have on the agenda tonight an item relative to our affordable housing process, where we're endorsing the 4th round housing element and affordable housing plan. Delanco sits in an excellent position relative to affordable housing, thanks to some very good planning over the years, and because of that, there will be compliance with the fourth round mandate without the need to build additional new units in town. That plan is in keeping with that, those prior statements, and so this is sort of the last step of compliance for the municipality at this point. And once we approve this, it'll be filed with the court. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Schwab.
Okay. I want to report last week, the finance officer went out to bids for the annual bond anticipation notes at $2.455 million. The low bid was 3.74%, so that the amount that you have to budget to pay off next year is $91,587. It's to Pennsville National Bank. There was another bid from Janney Montgomery Scott for 1/4. So we did under 4%. We budgeted, assuming 4%, it ended up being under that, so that worked out pretty good. The other thing is just to say goodbye. It's my last meeting, so I just
Oh, is it?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, it is. We know.
So it is. That's okay. It's great. I just want to let you know you have great employees, you have great professionals, you have great elected officials, and I thoroughly enjoyed my 15 years here. It was supposed to only be one. So thank you very much. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. I felt like we said our goodbyes at the last
did.
meeting, but
did.
of course, we appreciate you for all you've done for the past 15 years and for sticking around through this process and agreeing to help Debbie get settled in, and we're going to miss you. But yeah, enjoy your retirement and your travel and your grandkids, of course.
Thank you very much.
And that round-the-world cruise.
That's correct.
Yes.
You don't have to pay for it now that I'm leaving. Let's try that.
But we know that we can call you in case of emergency, pull here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've agreed, Debbie knows
changing
the
his
stuff,
number.
and whatever she needs me to do, I will do. I'll finish up things I'm working on.
Thank you, Richard. Janice, anything to report on your end?
Not at this time.
Chief Warren?
Good evening, everyone. For our department, to date, we have 16 total cases for the month of June, with a total for the year with 117. There were 53 motor vehicle violations issued this month, with a total for the year of 373. Total amount of stops for this month, so to date, were 178, with a total for the year of 979. And to date, we have officers responding to 780 calls of service, with a total for the year of 5,671. So with the summer starting, we're getting busy. So, but other than that, that's all I have to report for now.
Just want to confirm our noise ordinance is 10 p.m. every night, right? 7 days a week?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have anything for the chief?
I just wanted to check on the email I had sent from Keith Letizio regarding traffic on coming out of the out of the Zobrook Mansion.
At Second and Union?
Yeah, Second and Union. There's a lot of children there now, and I had forwarded to you.
Yeah, that would be for Harry.
I forwarded both you and Harry.
Yeah, I saw it, but I don't make determinations for any signage
Yeah.
or any
Okay,
streets
so I
that would
did.
come.
I did forward it to Harry as well, so I'll check with
Yeah,
Harry.
whatever,
then.
again, I told Mayor Seuss, whatever you guys put in place, we enforce it. So,
Okay, good.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. And one of the things, too, it was rectified. One of the issues that he had was the service vehicle that was parked.
Right,
And that
coming
since
out.
has been moved, yeah. So,
Coming out on Second Street.
no, there was a vehicle
It was
parked
a big
on
truck.
Union
Oh, yeah.
that was a commercial construction vehicle. So that since has been moved and it no longer parks there.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah.
Thank you. I'll double check with Harry, because
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
heard from him.
Yeah.
He's been
me know.
busy.
Yeah, he's been a little busy.
Dealing
Yeah.
with park stuff.
I'll double check with him.
Because even, I mean, again, I would imagine
CC
just,
you on it.
but again, I don't determine if you put a
Okay.
sign to it. So if you pass it and put another sign there and make it a four-way stop, Public Works will just need that resolution and we put the signs and we enforce it. So that won't be no problem.
Okay,
Great.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Township Committee, Mr. Olet, you want to start?
Yep, very short tonight. Tuesday, June 17th, we had our JIF insurance meeting, and the focus seems to be cyber security. Our IT people here at the municipal building are doing their homework and doing, I guess, double checking on our firewalls and whatever else there is for security for our system. And then this past Saturday, History Board, we had our event here from 1 to 3. Although we had a low turnout, it was productive, and a couple of the folks that were here, the one gentleman, I guess, goes back to when Walnut Street first opened or thereabouts, and was sharing stories of growing up and working out on the Russ Farm, picking peaches and vegetables out there. So that's quite interesting. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Phil?
All right, let's start off with last month's May 25th. We did have the Memorial Day Parade. I want to thank the police department and especially Public Works for their work and helping us to get this thing go through with no burps or anything like that. June 3rd, I did attend the Joint Land Use Board. The one hearing that was going to happen was postponed. And then Thursday, the EAB canceled this month. The meeting was conflict with some of the members. June 10th, of course, I casted my vote. June 11th, we had the recreation meeting here, which Scott Taylor did his presentation to the Rec Commission, and we approved it and passed it on to Township. June 12th was the first summer concert at the Hawk Island Marina. It went off good. The band was Coconuts. Well, they're known as Nuts now. The PTO did their fundraising by selling the refreshments. June 18th, I was in here. I attended the court session. Then after that, I ran to the 8th grade graduation. It was a nice event held at Walnut Street School. And then our next concert is the 26th of next Thursday, Rough Cut.
This Thursday.
Hawk Island Marine.
This Thursday.
This
Yes.
Thursday, yeah.
This Thursday. That's it.
Thank you. Matt?
All right, since I last gave a report on May 19th, along with Kate, I attended about 4 or 5 days worth of interviews for our township administrator, which we discussed more in depth last week during our special meeting appointing Debbie to that position, and that took a good amount of my time over the last month. As usual, I attended the Fire Commission meeting on May 27th. Normal business occurred, and of course I attended the parade with the fire company, both here in Delanco and in Riverside. I was not able to attend the fire company meeting last month, and tonight is our township committee meeting conflicted. On May 29th, I attended the pre-construction meeting with PSE&G for the gas main replacement project that's currently going on. They're making their way on the far side of town between Burlington Avenue and Hawk Island, and will be continuing to work their way through town. They're going to be sending out emails to the affected residents, and the township is going to be putting out bulletins every week when we get the schedule from PSE&G about what streets are going to be worked on that week. So we'll be sending out the emails to anyone who's on the distribution list, and will be posted on the township's Facebook page as well. June 12th, I attended the Office of Emergency Management meeting, which we did a recap of the New Jersey Transit light rail drill. We went over what went right, what could have been better, and thankfully nothing to go over on the what went wrong side of things, because everything went well. And finally, I've continued to watch the progress of the construction of the new historic waterfront park. Even though I work on huge construction projects for my day job, it's amazing watching physically something going on right here in our town on this important piece of property. I personally want to give special thanks to Mr. Graybob, the chair of Rec, and Carolyn for being out there. You know, those two own a construction company and have a great attention to detail, and there was some issues over the last couple weeks that, if not quickly caught by them, it could have been disastrous to the entire timeline of the project. So thank you, Carolyn, and pass that along to Al as well, please. And that's all I have.
Thanks for being my springboard when I get upset. calms me down.
Yeah, good job catching those issues out there. I'm glad everything's back on track.
Yep, it is back on track. It's been very interesting. Kate, what you got?
Thank you. I have to laugh, maybe everybody should laugh. I had left my report home, so I ran home to get it, and everybody on the committee laughed and said, "Oh, that's okay, Kate, you don't have to come and get it." Because my report sometimes is a little lengthy, but so, so I went home and got it anyway. But so let me start with DISA Del Riv Youth Sports. Their meeting on May 27th was canceled so they could attend a fundraiser. Spring sports are definitely winding down, and they're offering a clinic this year for girls flag football, and registration is open for fall soccer. They held a safety clinic on June 6th. June 27th is the coaches versus the coaches softball game, and June 28th is Parents' Night Out at the VFW. And July 1st, the wait list will open for basketball. They're in need of fall soccer coaches and volunteers for the concession stand. So if anybody's available or willing to help out, please do so. Memorial Day in Delanco, as usual, our Gateway Park looked great for the service. Shout out to Public Works for keeping the grounds looking so nice. As usual, I planted the flowers in the window boxes and put up the bunnings that the Women's Club provides each year. The services were very nice, no problems with lowering and raising the flag. Thank you to Lucas Russell for the Eagle Scout project, installing the new flagpole. And a gentleman in town did a video of the parade. So this year I was actually able to view the parade, which was really nice. Shade Tree met on May 28th. Residents' requests were reviewed as follows. 210 Peachtree Lane, the committee agreed not to take down their tree. The chairman will talk to Sewer Authority and also the residents for proof of interference with utilities. 7 Pennington Court, resident was present. She had photos and documentation regarding a willow oak that was continuing to raise sidewalks, and it has been put on for the pilot program for paver replacements. Several other properties were discussed. One tree was added to the removal located at 1602 2nd Street. Sidewalk reimbursement process was discussed, and the sidewalk repair was stopped at one location in Newton's Landing. And I presented a list of good tree performers as noted in the March issue of the New Jersey Municipalities magazine. Living Springs, the mayor and I met with the seniors at Living Springs on Friday night, May 30th. The purchase of 401 Creek Road was presented. A question and answer period ensued. And the rep chairman was also in attendance and discussed some upcoming events. As Matt had mentioned, we met for more than this last month, but we met a couple of months before that, interviewing different people for our administrator position, and we're very happy to welcome Debbie. And also, I'm very sad to see Richard go. I'm so glad he stayed with us as long as he did. He did a phenomenal job for this town, and it was certainly a pleasure for me to work with him for the last 15 years.
Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome. Affordable housing, as Doug had mentioned, we were continuing to meet regarding the trust fund monies, and that has been taken care of, and the Joint Land Use Board endorsed that plan, and we will be passing that tonight. We've been very fortunate that we were proactive in our affordable housing obligations, and we have met them, and we probably are good through the 5th. So that's like 20 years. So that's a great thing. As everyone knows, Recreation did meet. Summer camp registration is underway. Trips are scheduled, and they're looking forward to another year offering our youth summer programs. Plans for the playground were discussed and approved. Summer concerts are in full swing. And of course, everyone knows that work is continuing on the Waterfront Park, and hopefully the grand opening is July 19th. Parking issue is going to be discussed tonight. The board is interested in seeing the changes to the Centennial Park plan since it was already approved. The tot lot was vandalized at West Avenue, so parts have been ordered to repair the structure. At this time, it is blocked off since it's unsafe for use. I don't think it's been repaired yet.
No.
No, okay. And Ken Shedeker was in attendance and reported on the projects that he has completed as well as work in progress. The Delanco seniors had a luncheon at Fratelli's on June 10th and was enjoyed by all in attendance. They will not be meeting in July or August. Sewer Authority, we met on June 10th via Zoom. The trunk line project is complete. The bonds have been sold, and our first payment is August 1st. There are issues with mains at Larchmont and Delview and on Popular and Ash, and bid specs will be prepared to correct and replace the line on Rancocas and Poplar, and the root issues are being resolved at Larchmont and Delview. The operator's report is on file, and utilizing a QPA for some projects was discussed, and that is on our agenda tonight. Newton's Landing HOA, Matt and I attended their meeting on June the 12th and went over the purchase of 401 Creek Road, as well as answered their questions and concerns regarding it and other issues in town. And as Matt had mentioned, the OEM, Office of Emergency Management, met on June the 12th at the firehouse. The county representative was in attendance, and they're preparing for the farm fair. The fire chief reported that they're currently training on the boats for the upcoming season, and they're also in need of new members, so volunteers are welcomed. The chairman discussed the upcoming hurricane season, and the chief will be scheduling an emergency operations center exercise at the firehouse to make sure we're ready in the event that we have any emergent situations in town. And all departments should be on hand at that time. So that's the conclusion of my report, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad you went home and got that. It was important to know everything, for sure. Okay, as everybody mentioned, what I did, I'll add a couple things. I was also at the pre-con meeting for the PSE&G project that's happening for the gas line replacements through town. As a reminder, if you do live on the streets affected and you have an indoor gas meter, they will be moving that outside as per BPU regulations. So keep an eye out for a door hanger to get in contact to schedule that appointment. One thing Kate didn't mention was we met with Richard last week to go over the union contracts for police and public works. We continue to work on them to get them resolved so everybody can have a great contract for the upcoming year. Went over the park plans, had a couple meetings with Scott so we could get the park plan ready for today, for recreations meeting and today to move forward with the grant project. We're excited about that, and you know, we're hopeful that we'll be able to get that funding and get that project underway. It would be a great addition to our downtown area if we do get that money, and that will be something we'll work on probably for fall next year if we do get that money. We have a couple things in the works, so. And yeah, my life has been at Waterfront Park for the past 6 weeks, just kind of overseeing everything, talking with the engineers and planners and contractors every day, making sure everything's going according to plan. We had some issues with the pavilion not being square, and that was addressed this week. So yay, it's square. That was something else. So yeah, myself and then my husband, you know, you get a Carolyn, you get an Al. So he gets to get drug along with me, and he's my right hand when it comes to construction. So it's going well. We are on track for hopefully having it, fingers crossed, open by the 4th. We'll see, as long as Mother Nature cooperates. And then obviously our grand opening is still the 19th, the grand opening celebration, but we hope to have the park open before that. So that's really kind of my update. Okay, moving on to consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Anybody have anything they want to pull from the agenda? No? Great. Okay, moving on. Resolution 2025-98, Resolution of the Township endorsing the fourth round housing element and fair share plan as adopted by the Delanco Township Joint Land Use Board, and adopting the spending plan and annexed thereto as Appendix K as the Township's fourth round spending plan. Resolution 2025-99, approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for fiscal year 2026 Hickory Street Improvement Project. Resolution 2025-100, providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the budget of any county or municipality pursuant to NJS 40A:4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1985. Resolution 2025-101, specifying the salaries of certain employees within Delanco Township. Resolution 102, resolution authorizing amendment to employment contract with the Delanco Municipal Clerk. Resolution 103, authorizing extension of third quarter taxes pursuant to NJSA 54:4-66.3D. Resolution 2025-104, resolution authorizing employment contract with Delanco Chief of Police. Resolution 105, authorizing execution of First Amendment to Shared Services Agreement with the Township of Hainesport for Qualified Purchasing Agent, QPA Services. Resolution 106, contact person for the Employment Practices Liability Attorney Consultation Service, Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund. Payment of bills, current fund $271,460.41. Payroll $195,332.66. Escrow trust, $8,142.50. Housing trust, $13,558.96. Municipal open space, $9,528.45. And capital fund, $182,481.59. We also have the appointment of our administrative office manager, Beverly Russell, as part of our ongoing, what do we call that? Succession plan. There we go. Moving away some duties, so this is just part of that. So congratulations, Beverly, on moving up to that position. And can I get an approval of the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Kate. Roll call.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mrs. Patrick.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes, thank you. Correspondence?
I have one piece of correspondence. Came in today via email from Joe and Colin. It's pertinent to your discussion on parking on Delaware Avenue. And it's regarding, they're unable to attend tonight's Township Committee meeting and understand it's an item on the agenda and wish to add the comments about that. While I support the idea of parking on Delaware Avenue for these events only, for the ease of residents, and ask consideration that driveways not be blocked. And will Delaware Avenue be closed in front of the park during the concerts?
Okay.
And everyone was forwarded to everyone's email, so you have that correspondence. So I wanted to enter that for the record.
Thank you.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, meeting is now open to the public. This is the general session too. Anything can be asked or addressed at this point. So open to the public. Name and address at the podium, please, if you have anything to say. Speak now or whoever hold your peace. What's going on back there?
None, Ray?
Nothing?
Everybody's quiet tonight.
Okay, that's scary.
Okay.
I'll close the session to the public, and we'll move on to discussion items. We're going to scrap the, not scrap it, but we're just going to postpone the animals to the next, the cat ordinance to the next meeting, right?
Right. We need some additional information from the TNR program as well as our animal control services company that we use, just to get some additional information and make some amendments to that ordinance before we discuss it fully.
Okay. So we'll move back to the discussion to allow parking on Delaware Avenue for the 3 events this summer at the historic waterfront park. So I believe it was discussed that the block from Willow to Union will be closed altogether for every event. And then I believe at Recreation, it was brought up that they're anticipating some parking issues. So we wanted to discuss closing one block from Union to Walnut to allow for some additional parking, right? Did I have that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And it would be no different than just having 2 cars park on each side, like every other street in town, right? That's kind of the plan?
Yeah, just for those events, I guess, because a lot of people are concerned, a lot of people have asked
You
me.
have to talk in the mic, I don't do.
Yeah,
just-
a lot of people have concerns about parking, and the concerts at the marina are handled a little bit differently because there is a parking lot at the marina, and Phil sort of parks everybody. And then they have parking on the grass. There is parking on one side of Rancocas Avenue, and they do fill up on Orchard and some of the side streets. I think that, so people have been asking me, even at the bank, Kate, where are we gonna park for the concert? So I thought, well, let's just bring it up to see if we would just open up a section of Delaware for some parking, and the rest would be done on the streets.
Yeah, and I think
side
on the
streets.
flyer, I even put on there I encourage people to walk and bike as well.
Right.
Which in the summer, there's a ton of people down there anyway, but if you have people coming from the other side of town, West Avenue, down here on Cooper, they're not gonna be able to walk there in the middle of summer. So, we wanted to make it convenient for our residents just to be able to park in that 1 block section, just to have kind of an overflow if there's not any. And, it's really no different than parking on any other street in town. If you park on each side, you leave room like you would in the city to let people back in and out, is kind of my thought process. I understand everybody's concerns that live on that block, but I don't think it's as big of an issue as it may be made out to be. But do you guys have any comments?
You're talking parking on both sides of the street or one side of the street?
Well, if you're gonna park on one side of the street, you're talking maybe 10, 12 cars.
But then you have the concern of people trying to get out.
Well, they park on the streets on the side streets and on the streets,
Right.
Washington Street, they park on both.
I mean, Union's a little bit wider than what
Yeah.
Delaware is.
Right.
I'm assuming.
I think maybe the chief, what do you think? Do you think it's really gonna cause a problem? I can tell you that when people leave the concerts, I live right on Rancocas, and they park all along the street that I live on. Everybody seems to be respectful of leaving. I don't know, Phil does the parking lot, and he manages that, and so I just wonder if it's really an issue just for these events. It's not, and
Why don't you just, if you're gonna do this for 3 events, why don't you just block off Delaware, period? And then allow the cars to park within that blocked off area. So say
And
you
then-
block it off from Walnut to Willow. They can still come down, obviously, the side streets, which would be Walnut and Union, but if you just block it off from Willow all the way down, that's your area, that's your parking area.
Right.
yeah,
So people can still walk and access the sidewalks, they can still walk
Yep.
along the river,
Sure.
but you just block it off altogether, and that's your
Yeah.
parking area.
yeah.
That's
And-
what I'm saying, yeah.
And call it a day.
Just for some additional,
Yeah, 'cause-
because there are gonna be people that are gonna come to these events that don't normally go to the concerts at the Hawk Island Marina, because this is something very new for Delanco. We've been working on this project for 18 years, and so for some people who've lived here forever, to see this come to fruition, it's really quite an event I'm thrilled to see it.
Yeah, I would block it off. And if, Phil, you normally help with directing traffic? There you go.
He's
your guy.
We'll have to wear a vest, Phil.
Yeah, you can still block it off at Union and Will like you normally do when you have the carriage rides. But
Right.
from the rest of the way down, just block it off for parking.
Right, and when it's full and they'll leave enough space to get out, like they would in any other parking situation.
Right. And
And if we do it for the 19th and we find it doesn't work, then we just won't do it. But I think we
Right.
should at least try it out for the 19th and see how it
Right.
goes.
I think that. And I think for the carriage rides, we have them staggered different times.
Right.
We've learned through the years that you can't have everybody coming at one time.
Right.
So because they're staggered, there aren't as many people coming in cars
No.
at one time.
Right.
So it works really well. unfortunately, we can't stagger this event, so, or these
And
events.
the event's from 5:30 to 8, so it's not going to be super late at night. I mean, it's still kind of light out at 8 o'clock too, so it's not like people are going to be walking back in the dark. So, yeah, I say try it out for the 19th, see how it goes, kind of use it as like a pilot situation, and go from there, and we'll reevaluate it.
That makes sense.
Matt?
Yeah,
You look perturbed.
no, not perturbed. My opinion would be keep parking as it is. People could park on Second Street. There's plenty of room on Second Street. I like Mrs. Crom's idea of handicap parking on Delaware Avenue for those who aren't able-bodied to walk from Second Street. I think that's a great idea. But I wouldn't change the parking situation out there. It's not that far to walk a block and a half from Second Street, down Union, down Willow, to Delaware Avenue. I don't think it's a big of a lift for people who are going out to enjoy the concert.
Thoughts?
I just think you're gonna get, quite a few people, and they're not gonna be just on Second Street, because Second Street has people that park there too, so,
Yeah, I say let's just try it out for the 19th and see how it
They
goes.
could park on Union, Third, Walnut. You know, if someone's going to a concert at the Link or wherever people go to concerts, town will go to concerts, they're walking across a huge parking lot, they could handle a couple blocks. That's just my opinion.
What do you think about just doing handicap parking?
I think that's a good idea.
Handicap is a major issue
Yeah,
for
that's a
people
good
that cannot make it.
Okay.
But then it would have to be restricted, and I would have to be parking attendant again.
Or,
You're doing that
or
either way
somebody
still,
else on
so-
But
recreation.
What do you do now at Hawk Island for handicap parking?
With handicap, I keep the back section all the way down at the end. I don't fill that area at all unless someone comes in with a handicap placard.
Oh, okay.
And then I start parking them, the rest of the people, I start up at the top of the hill.
Gotcha.
And then work my way around. So,
Makes sense.
and then if I have some handicapped people that come late,
Mhm.
I can actually pull them into George's parking spot across on the corner there.
Okay.
So I can get them close, that's the main thing. Is
And
to
then,
get
I
'em
mean,
close
roughly,
to it.
because it's been a while since I've been down there for a concert. How many cars, what were we, 45?
There's a
50?
decent amount.
Probably,
Roughly?
if I'm guessing, I probably squeeze maybe about 100, maybe 150 cars in Hawk Island alone.
Right.
And then more on
And
Rancocas?
then more out on the street, because I have, usually about 7:15, 7:30, I have to take the cones up to the front entrance and cone it off, because I can't physically block it, because I have to let the marina do their business. And it's, yeah,
That's
it's
what I would
another
say.
full-time job. for me.
That's why I would say block off Delaware Ave, because then you're not
Yeah.
having all those cars parked on Second in front of all those people's homes.
Right.
Because it's different on Rancocas, because once, like where you're at, once they pass you and Fern's house, it's pretty much open space all the way to the corner of Rancocas and Orchard.
Right.
But you're talking about taking up all of Second, all of Union, their parking is already scarce there.
Yeah.
And then to park on, well, we're in an open time frame, so they, obviously for where Mr. Devaney lives at, for example, past 9, you need the permit, but it just seems like it would just make more sense if it's only that one event, just block it off and allow them to park in there.
Yeah.
It's just
But
easier.
the concerts aren't over till 9, so that would have to be
Well, the
waived.
first one's done,
8.
Is it 8?
8:00.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
because the band's starting at,
Oh, they're starting
6.
earlier.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, so they're not gonna go past that time frame, so we want to worry about that.
So, the mayor and I thought that maybe what we should do, instead of opening the parking, just as the young lady had offered, we should allow for handicap parking on Delaware Avenue only and see how it works out for the opening. And if parking becomes an issue on all the other streets, then maybe we'll open it up to Delaware Avenue.
Well,
Let's see, since Matt feels that there's plenty of parking and we've had enough people raise their concerns, so let's just try to make sure we have handicap parking available. So Phil, if you would be so kind as to deal with that issue, we would love it, because you're good at that. And then let's see how it works out. If we have a lot of issues with people finding parking or what have you, then we'll address it for the next one, for the first concert after the opening.
And if there ends up being parking, general parking on Delaware for those events, I know a lot of people in the audience, or a few people brought up emergency vehicles getting through. I'm less concerned about that. We get our fire engines and the ladder trucks through on all the tinier streets in town with parking on both sides.
Yeah.
I'm honestly not concerned about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So I think that's the plan for now,
Okay.
Chief, okay?
Okay, so the parking for handicap, would that be on both sides of Delaware?
Both sides.
Okay. Up to Walnut Street? Is that-
Probably,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Walnut to Union.
Yeah.
And would they be parking, all going in one direction on both sides, or?
Yeah.
No,
Alternate?
you
Okay,
Yeah.
park on
thanks.
the side, you park on the side you're traveling.
You
Yeah.
park
So if
on
you're
the side,
traffic, yeah, you're
Okay.
head, you're head on, towards the
Yeah,
right
with
side, you better be
traffic.
parked on the right
Right.
side.
You have to go
Don't
with
cross that
traffic.
street.
Okay,
Yeah,
just want, need some clarification.
Yeah, nah,
yeah, you need to park with
yeah, you
traffic.
park, slow the traffic. Yeah, because think about that, people are literally crossing over the street to park on the opposite side. That's a no-no.
Yeah, you can't do
Slow
that.
traffic.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I would just request that we make sure the corners are kept clean. That's the only real issues we have with our emergency vehicles, with making that radius.
Yep.
You have a really long truck, we need the
Right.
big turning radius there.
I'll talk to your neighbor down there. It's his department now.
He didn't agree.
You good with that, Phil?
Are you good with that, Phil?
I'll get you the yellow vest.
I don't have a problem with it. I would prefer it just be the handicap parking on that.
Okay,
So that
good.
this way it's less of a travel for the people that are in need.
Yep, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anyone else?
I do.
Yep, go ahead.
Actually, it's a question for Mr. Heinhold. We're getting ready for the referendum that we're going to have on July 29th. We now have signage going out, and here at Town Hall and on our parks. So am I allowed to put my sign out front on township property? Right now, we have yes signs that are out there.
Right. So, yeah, I appreciate you giving me a heads up before the meeting that you were going to ask about this. I did take a quick look at what I could here, but I'd like to take a deeper look at it. My gut reaction is that public property, if it's open to signs, it's content neutral, meaning if we're allowing signs, we're allowing signs. We're not. So, but I want to take a closer look because I've only had a little bit of time. I will get you an answer tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll make sure administration's copied in and everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
Before we close out the meeting, I missed the Richard Schwab Farewell Love Fest a week ago. And I just want to say, I have the opportunity in my career to work with many, many township administrators and managers, and Richard is one of the finest that I've ever worked with. And he is sort of the epitome of a public servant, just showing up every day with that idea in mind that that's what we're here for. Always a team player, and it's been a pleasure working with you. I will miss working with you.
Thank you very much, Doug. My pleasure.
Great. Motion to adjourn?
I have one thing.
Yep.
Can't adjourn yet. So since we don't meet again until July 14th, which will be the only meeting for July, not including the town hall meeting,
Yes, pay the bills.
so can there be a motion to authorize the finance office to pay any bills that would become due and payable prior to our July 14th meeting?
Yes, somebody make a motion?
So moved. Okay, second.
All in favor?
Whatever. Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night. Stay cool, people. Drink some
Have
water.
a great holiday.
What holiday we got? Oh, 4th of July.
Always there.
Okay.
A lunch on July 16th.
I do it because it's easy.
Mr. Chrome?
This way I